It all starts with another world casting heroes who will save their world and kingdom. And as expected, Mukoda, the protagonist of our anime, turns out to be the weakest of the bunch. The king, gathering his best, is given the task of killing the demon king, who has been terrorizing their kingdom since ancient times. Realizing this, and his weakness among the other heroes, Mukoda decides to refuse the mission, and as a silence to keep him from betraying the hero's secret mission, he is given 20 gold coins. Disguised in ordinary peasant clothing, he suddenly discovers that he possesses a skill, Online Grocer, which is very similar to a skill from his online game. From this site, QC can order a grocery delivery in the blink of an eye, and immediately it will appear next to him. Wondering what he should do next, he decides to leave the country he was summoned to. And at the same time, he meets a traveling trader who takes him with him. According to the trader's story, all borders of the country will soon be closed, so that people won't flee anywhere. Having understood the essence of the situation, Mukoda hires a team of adventurers to protect him so that he can cross the borders in peace. As he travels, learning more about his skill, Mukoda begins to cook some very tasty food, which his guards. The journey proves to be difficult. They are often attacked by various dangerous monsters, but the adventurers deal with them in no time. That night, everyone liked very much the dinner prepared by Mukoda and asked for more, as they had never had such a delicious meal. The main character is very eager to see the parameters of his companions, and notices that his food greatly affects their parameters, increasing and improving their skills. The next day, Jai tries to use as little food as possible from the other world, because he doesn't want his food to boost their skills so much. And as usual, the taste of the food causes a violent reaction among his companions. But at the same time, smelling something delicious, the feast is interrupted by the appearance of a huge-sized wolf. All the wanderers stare in horror at this familiar. The wolf majestically orders the humans to feed him. The main character gives him his food without any remorse. The wolf asks for more before he's full, and the main character, obeying the order, begins to cook all the meat they had, wishing to quench the monster's thirst. Having eaten enough and realized how delicious it was, the wolf offers to sign a contract with Mukoda. Though the hero wanted to refuse, but frightened by the wolf's gaze and intentions, he agrees. According to the contract, the main character will be obliged to take care of the wolf and, most importantly, to feed him tasty. After concluding a contract with Mukoda, the wolf asks for a name. He jokingly begins to think of names Pachai, Hachai. In the end, knowing he is a Fenrir and just shortening the word, the hero calls his surname Fur, and the wolf likes the name and agrees. Moving on to the border, the hungry Fur asks for food, and in turn, Mukoda realizes how much his surname Wolf eats and orders him to get the meat for cooking. And the Fenrir, obeying his master, goes off to hunt. In just a few moments, he brings back meat of a bird of the B rank, which even the whole team of adventurers accompanying the hero couldn't defeat. After the meal, before going to the border, one of his companions says that he must warn the warriors that the familiar is tame and will not touch anyone. As soon as they see a wolf, they begin to fear him, but the farmer says that he is not an animal and will not touch them, as long as they don't touch them. After entering the town, they are told that the animal will be found out very quickly and will want to take it over. It's time to say goodbye to the guards. They didn't have to wait long. At the same moment, the Count's subordinate runs up to them and invites them to visit the Count for a chat. But realizing why, Mukoda flatly refuses, and refuses 10 times. But the subordinate turns out to be very stubborn. Then the wolf gets involved and drives him away. Surprised by the formidability of his familiar, his companions tell him the legend of the wolf and how strong he is. Inspired, Fair tells us that he fought dragons 400 years ago and was on equal footing with them. But it's time to say goodbye, and they split up with their guard. Wondering what to do now, they go to register at the Chamber of Commerce. But Mukoda didn't yet know how much his goods would be worth. Having dinner with the feather, as usual the wolf eats meat, and this time Mukoda decides to cook himself some rice. The next day, on coming to the marketplace, he sells goods from the other world, pepper and salt, which cost 5 coppers each, and when they are sold they are valued at 17 gold pieces, which surprises Mukoda himself, and he does not want to cash in on his ability to. At the Adventurers Guild, he is greeted very coldly and prejudiced. Eventually getting his documents, they leave. As they dine, the hero gets the lowest ranks and is sent to the task board in the town square, and chooses the herb gathering task because it seems easy enough to him. Mukoda wants to do it tomorrow, but the wolf turns out to be hungry as usual, and the familiar asks him to cook the same steak as yesterday. Frightened that garlic can be dangerous for the animals, asking if this is true, and using his ability to analyze, he is greatly surprised by how strong his familiar is, and that he is almost max level by all parameters. Waking up in the morning, he thinks about collecting herbs, because if he does nothing in a month he will lose money since he paid to join the guild. Going down to wash, he doesn't notice that his familiar is sitting in a rage. Fair is also furious, and begins to say that the protagonist has forgotten all about him, and that he wants to eat. Mukoda makes a joke and prepares food. After the meal the wolf is not hungry at all and asks for more, but the master says that they do not have much money and food left, and asks the wolf to hunt and he will gather various herbs. The Fenrir begins to sense several monsters nearby. Frightened that something may happen to his master, he gives him a shield and runs off to hunt. After gathering various herbs with his analysis ability, he orders food and begins to prepare dinner, and Fenrir arrives at the same time. The wolf is enjoying his master's cooking as usual. The Fenrir has killed orcs in the hunt, and the hero asks if he can eat them. Fenrir says that people have been eating them for a long time and that they are very tasty. Next, the hero rides a wolf and quickly reaches another town. In the city, he goes to the Merchants Guild and sells all the plants he collected, and also sells all of the monsters the wolf has killed, agreeing that he will keep all of the meat. After taking some of the orc meat, they leave and start cooking it. The next day he is given 220 gold coins for the monsters. The hero wonders why so much, and the guild explains why. Far away from the city they decide to have a feast and order a ready meal. The wolf again marvels at the taste of the meat. Later he tells his master that after his meal he has a huge energy boost and that now he could slay even an ancient dragon, and leaves to hunt. And the main character goes to bed. At this time the wolf is killing all the monsters in a moment and starts fighting with the orc general, but he's nothing to him. Mukoda wakes up amazed at how many strong monsters the wolf has brought. Bragging to himself, Fair says that he defeated them all in one blow. The wolf had no idea how delicious food could be prepared at all. Mukoda asks if the wolf uses magic, and Fair boasts that he has been blessed by the goddess Nenrir with air magic and is very strong at it. The main character asks if he too can use magic. Fair explains that he can use magic just by thinking and imagining it well. Wolf teaches him exactly how to use magic and that it takes practice. Although Mukoda is afraid to fight with monsters, Fair says it is the most effective way to learn magic, and takes him by the scruff of the neck and runs off in search of evil. The wolf leaves him alone against the goblin crowd, and the hero has to fight alone. And pretty soon he runs out of magic and falls asleep, but the wolf saves him. For bringing the wolf to the Goblin King he asks for an expensive steak, but because of Mukoda's weakness, he just orders a ready-made sweet treat and they have a meal. The protagonist thinks Nenrir's blessing is cheating and starts yelling that he would like it too. The goddess hears him and smirks a little. The next day they come to town and are once again frightened by the people. They are warned that Mukoda will be responsible for all the wolf's deeds. Agreeing to this and leaving the wolf in the enclosure, the protagonist goes off to look for a map, and without finding anything by evening, he goes back to the wolf, and they eat a cooked meal again. The next day, wandering around the city, Mukoda stumbles upon a bar and asks people about the country and its rules. Though the maps are considered a state secret, but people, trying to deceive him, they give it to him for 1 gold coin. Everyone in the bar starts laughing at him, because he could buy it in the guild for just 1 silver coin. The wolf reassures him that money can easily be earned, and Mukoda thinks where to go next on his journey. If you liked this recap and this story, like it and subscribe, so we know you like it and we'll make a next episodes and we'll be motivated to make more content. Stay happy.